Hello, D-backs family, and welcome into another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I am your mayor of PHNX, occasionally known as Derek Montilla, and I'm joined by my vice mayor, the one and only Thunderstick Jesse Friedman.
Derek, there are clouds outside and rain, and it's weird.
There is. My natural lighting is all messed up. I have to have this light above me on. I hate it. But anyway, of course, we welcome you guys into the podcast, which is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. We thank you guys for being here. Motion in the comments said, how is it already Wednesday? I have no idea. And ask my kid, who only has like 3 days left of Christmas vacation, and she will tell you she is not ready for it to be Wednesday either. But Jesse, I want to welcome a very special guy to the Valley, a guy we're very excited about being here. No, it's not Gabriel Moreno. We've already done that enough. We want to welcome Lourdes Gurriel to the Valley because this man, we already love this man, Jesse. We already love this man. Sent out a tweet with himself and his youngsters there in D-backs hats. Look at that. Those are some sharp-looking hats, by the way. He went out and just went all in on some good-looking D-backs hats, but he says he's ready, and we are ready. What are your thoughts about Gurriel bringing not only this attitude, but that hair to this lineup, Jesse?
Can we get that picture up one more time of
let's
him
take
and his
a look.
kids? I can't help but notice that the kid on the far left here, that hat feels like it's got to be at least like 3 or 4 sizes too big.
Yeah,
like
that's what makes it cuter.
That's definitely like an adult hat on like, I don't know, like a 6 or 7 year old.
Right. This is what I would do as a father, Jesse. I would buy the hats for myself, and then I would let my kid wear them in a picture. But I'm not buying. That kid's head is going to change 4 times over the next month. That's how many sizes his head is going to change. So no, you don't buy children clothes in the size that they fit in. You always buy them clothes that are bigger than the actual size, you know?
Right. It does make sense. Yeah, no, it's been fun just seeing Lourdes Gurriel Jr. just, on social media, thanking fans in Toronto for everything that they meant to him, which was a lot. We've talked about it a little bit, but I've heard a lot of Blue Jays fans come out and say, like, yes, it's only 1 year of Lourdes Gurriel Jr. that we're losing, but like this guy was kind of a staple. Like he really meant something to that fan base in Toronto, yeah. and they're going to miss him a lot. And I know that Gurriel is certainly going to miss those fans as well. But yeah, it seems like, as you'd sort of expect, I guess, Gurriel has come out and seems to be fully embracing his future as an Arizona Diamondback.
And he did, like you said, post an IG and Instagram post where he thanked the fans, saying, well, what can I tell you, Blue Jays fans? Thank you for all your support during all this time. You who saw me take my first steps as a pro player and saw me grow. Thank you all. You will always be in my heart. Thank you to my teammates for everything. Best of luck. We got ourselves a solid guy, Jesse. I like that post. I think it gets to, it's a nice thank you. He obviously wasn't choosing to leave Toronto, but again, I think that when you're a Blue Jays fan or a fan of any franchise and a player like this leaves, yes, yeah, it's just 1 year left, but you were, if you're a fan of his, you were most likely hoping that they could extend him. The Braves have no problem extending people, but I think that once they leave the organization, even if it's through a trade like this, even if it's for 1 year, you have a hard time seeing them coming back. Right. And that's the part that, like, yeah, maybe he does re-sign with Toronto. He has that ability to do so. But, once you leave an organization, you kind of spread your wings a bit. Chances are you might not be coming back to that organization. I feel a similar way about Eduardo Escobar. Escobar's numbers might not jump off the page at you. They might not be enough to say, why are you want to bring this guy back so much? But it was just something about Escobar on this team, the way that he fit in and, became a part of, I guess beyond the organization, just kind of a part of the culture here in Arizona. And that was something that we really embraced him for.
I think that's a great comp. Honestly, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, Eduardo Escobar did really serve a similar role for the D-backs. I mean, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has never been like the Blue Jays' best player. He's had some really good seasons, especially his first couple years there. He's had a couple of 20 home run seasons over with Toronto, but yeah, it was kind of the same deal with Eduardo Escobar in Arizona. He wasn't necessarily the Diamondbacks' best player. I guess maybe in 2019. I mean, he was pretty good that year. I
He
guess
had a really
Ketel
damn good
Marte.
season. Yeah.
Ketel Marte was probably still the best player on that team, but yeah, Eduardo Escobar, even though maybe he wasn't like the first guy that comes to mind when you think Arizona Diamondbacks, he was a really big part of the clubhouse and just a really big part of the organization and the culture that the Diamondbacks established here. And it is abundantly clear that Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is all of those things, and hopefully will continue to be all of those things once he officially becomes an Arizona Diamondback.
I like this comp too. Mark Solera in the comments says Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is the Kelly Oubre of the D-backs. We bringing in the vibes guy, and I'm all for it, and I love it. And he's not wrong. You want to talk about vibes that he's bringing in? Let's take a look at exactly what we're getting with Gurriel. Leah, if you will. If you were hesitant about the Dalton Varsho trade, this is what we are getting in return. Leah, hair. It's the hair. No, nothing. There's the hair. There it is. How do you feel now, Diamondbacks fans? You feeling a little bit better about this? Maybe? Okay, so this is like more of a GQ photo, Jesse, but I really want to give a great example of why many Toronto Blue Jays fans use a pineapple emoji when describing Lourdes Gurriel Jr., and that would be this Instagram post that he had from Christmas with his adorable family. There, once again, showing off the very impressive flow that he has on top. That's a head of lettuce that you just can't get that anywhere, Jesse. You just can't get that in free agency. You have to trade a valuable piece of your team away to bring a head of hair like that into the organization.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, you look at the existing free agent market. I wrote about it today, and you know, the quality of hair available in free agency is
not very good.
Not nearly what the Diamondbacks are getting in Lourdes Gurriel Jr.
Yeah.
But
I don't think that's taken into account enough when evaluating this trade and who won and who lost, right? But I'm excited to dress up as him for Halloween because this kid nailed it. And look at that, Jesse. I'm ready for it. I'm here for this in a Diamondback uniform, 100%. That kid looks like a gamer, by the way.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's really incredible. I feel like there are a number of MLB players who have great hair, right? There's no question about it. We spend an absurd amount of time on this show talking about the quality of hair on the Arizona Diamondbacks. But there's something distinctive about what Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has going on up there.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how to describe it, Derek, but it is the kind of hair that you can totally replicate for Halloween, and everyone will know exactly who you are.
Yeah.
Like it's there's just something about it that really stands out.
Yeah. Gabriel Ferrer says we need a D-back sexy holiday calendar now. I'm with it. I like it. And Michael back in the comments asked, how soon till we see Baxter in a Lourdes Gurriel wig? Not soon enough. Not soon enough is my answer to that question. But you brought up your article, Jesse. You have a wonderful article over at gophnx.com on 10 free agents that can make the Diamondbacks better in 2023. And of course, now that list is down to 9 because one has already signed. Corey Kluber is already off the board, agreeing to a deal today with the Boston Red Sox. That's how shit happens around here. The hot stove never cools off. We don't turn it off. But this is something that, of course, I think was a very realistic list. If you get a chance to check Jesse's article out, make sure to do that over at gophnx.com. Spoiler alert, 4 of them are former D-backs, so that's exciting. They are. And of course, I know a lot of people have been talking about bringing Nathan Eovaldi in, but he has agreed to a 2-year deal worth $34 million with the Texas Rangers. So another free agent name off the board.
I wrestled back and forth with like including Eovaldi on the list, which obviously Eovaldi's already signed as of when I published the story. But when I was working on it, there were times and I was like, okay, maybe Eovaldi's on this list. I came to the conclusion, frankly, that I think it's very unlikely the Diamondbacks would make that big of an investment in one player. That Eovaldi contract with Texas doesn't sound too bad, right? 2 years, $34 million, but there are escalators in there. There are incentives in there that can bring it up to 3 years and $63 million, which is almost definitely outside of what the Diamondbacks would be willing to commit to a player. Alex mentions Michael Wacha. I also had iterations of this piece where Michael Wacha was on the list. But again, I think that Michael Wacha at this point is probably the best starting pitcher that is still available. I don't think the Diamondbacks are in need of a starting pitcher enough to want to go out and pay what it's going to take to get Michael Wacha. There are also some concerns.
But Jesse, the Fozzie jokes from the Muppets write themselves, right? And I wanted that for me. I wanted that just so I could waka all day long. But anyway,
there
ahead.
you go. There you go. I just have some concerns with Michael Waka and his peripherals. If you look at his ERA last year, I don't have it in front of me, but it was low threes. His whip was like 1.12. Really, really good numbers. But if you look a little bit closer, he's been pretty home run prone. I think it would be a little bit difficult to expect those kind of numbers from him again. And just knowing how the starting pitching market is and the fact that Michael Waka is relatively young, he's probably going to get paid as if he's maybe going to repeat those numbers or something close to that. I just don't think that he's a realistic target for the D-backs. And frankly, if I'm being honest, the guys that I have on this list, it is entirely possible. I don't know exactly what the D-backs conversations are like internally right now about free agency, but it is possible that even some of these guys are outside of what they're looking to spend through the remainder of the offseason.
Well, Andrew Chafin has the hair, so I feel like he's the most qualified candidate.
He definitely
right
has
he
definitely has an upper hand for that reason alone. You're absolutely right.
Well, make sure to read Jesse's piece over at gophnx.com if you haven't had a chance to do so already. That is unlocked and available right for all to see. But if you want to make sure that you can read all of Jesse's writing, make sure to grab yourself a Diehard membership while you're over there. The PHNX Diehards membership not only gets you a secret membership card, which I can't even talk about because it's so secret, but it's going to give you a variety of benefits as well as a free piece of our merchandise from the phnxlocker.com every single year. You will get yourself a discount over at the phnxlocker.com, 20% off, not only there, but off of our events, discounts from our partners as well. We will also offer you just friendship, love, support, we'll give you all that. We'll also invite you to our Discord lounge, where it's the best place to be an Arizona sports fan. And of course, like I said, you get discounts to our upcoming events, like our inaugural PHNX Tea Party taking place at Dobson Ranch Golf Course on Friday, January 13th. You will get a discount on the entry fee per person and for foursomes as a Diehard member. That also includes unlimited range balls. We're renting out the entire driving range. So come hang out with us. We're going to be hanging out with the PHNX Suns crew, watching Suns versus Timberwolves on giant screens. Your entry fee also includes a set of rental clubs if you don't have your own, and 1 free hour of range time and golf balls at Dobson Ranch to be used at a later time. I've talked about how incredible this driving range is. I really had a blast going out there and checking it out. It's one of the coolest driving ranges I've ever been to. There's many games, including Jesse beating you at ping pong. I'm not going to stop reiterating how much Jesse is going to beat everybody in ping pong. There's also contests for driving range, putting, more, heaters and hot chocolate, food and drink available for purchase, as well as offerings from the PHNX Locker and our partners. There'll also be a free kids clinic provided for all kids 10 and under for you to drop the little ones off at and enjoy some golf. Most importantly, for our friends at Four Peaks will be out there providing beer samples and swag. So check the link in the description to reserve your spot right now. And for Diehards, make sure to check the Discord for your special link where you'll save 20% on this awesome event. And of course, if you can't join us, make sure to grab some Four Peaks beer wherever you get your beer and enjoy responsibly and remotely. Enjoy it in spirit. You can tweet us and stuff while you're not there, and we'll pretend like you're there. So whether you're there or not, make sure to have a great time on January 13th. If you grab that Four Peaks beer, make sure you're 21 and over and enjoy responsibly. Jesse, before we move on, I did just want to talk about, of course, what the Atlanta Braves keep doing over there. They're acting
hilarious.
Like
hilarious.
They're acting like we're not watching what they're doing. We're fucking watching everything that they're doing all the time, Jesse. Per Robert Murray, the Atlanta Braves and catcher Sean Murphy, recently acquired catcher Sean Murphy through a trade, have agreed to a 6-year, $73 million contract extension that includes a $15 million club option for 2029. Jesse, please tell me and the Diamondbacks how the hell they keep doing this.
It's wild. It is truly wild. And the best explanation I can come up with, Derek, is that like once one guy signs an extension and another guy signs an extension and another guy signs an extension, at a certain point, it's like, I don't want to be the only guy who hasn't signed an extension. Like,
I don't
want
to be a bad teammate because you haven't signed an extension yet?
Yeah.
What are you doing? The rest of us signed. What are you waiting for?
I think there's a real element of that here where the Braves have just locked up so many of their young players, their key players moving forward, that Sean Murphy comes in and is like, yeah, the Braves are a great organization. They're in position to contend. like what other team would I want to play for? And the other thing I'll say about this too is that I view this one pretty differently from some of the other ones. I know people seeing these
Sure.
numbers viewed this as being extraordinarily team friendly. I do think it's pretty team friendly, but I will also say that Sean Murphy is a catcher. And as things stood before this extension, he would have hit free agency at 31 years old. If you look at the track record of catchers, in free agency, once they hit their 30s, generally you're not making $15 million a year. And that's what the Braves are committing to here. They're giving him $15 million a year for 3 seasons after that. So 2026 through 2028. And then there's also a team option for $15 million for 2029. So I actually think this is somewhat bold by the Atlanta Braves. Sean Murphy's an outstanding player right now, but the track record with catchers, once they get on the other side of 30 is actually not all that great.
Gabriel Ferrer in the comments says they must use the Dennis system. And Jesse, I'm going to explain to you really quickly what the Dennis system is from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It is one of the character on the show who's named Dennis. It's his way of actually, I guess, making women fall in love with him, but not really in love with him, just fall for him, right? And he's suggesting that Braves are using a similar system, and each letter of his name stands for something. So first it's demonstrate value, right? They're demonstrating the value here. They engage physically. Maybe that's money wise. I don't know. Maybe just seeing nurturing dependence, right? They make them think that they're making this decision on their own when they're not really. Then you neglect emotionally. That's the other end. Then you inspire hope, and you separate entirely. And then it's that separation that really makes them miss the Braves, I think. I think that's the point where they can't do nothing but sign for whatever minimum amount the Braves want them to sign for. I can't explain it. I don't even think that that's a good explanation for it. But what I will say is they're doing it the right way, and it makes me jealous. I think that the Diamondbacks have a team, honestly, that's poised to be extended in a similar fashion. I'm more surprised by the fact that the Braves extended Sean Murphy really without ever having him play for them at all, right? I mean,
played a single game.
Usually you want to see how a guy does before you extend him. And that's one difference that you could say between him and the other guys on their team. They've done a good job of taking care of their own guys that have performed well for them, right? And I mean, when you look at Dansby Swanson being the lone outlier as far as guys that are leaving this team and not staying, sticking around to be a part of this core in the future, that's a pretty good percentage considering how good some of these guys on the team are, and that they were able to get them to stick around for this period of time. I just think the key here is to doing it young, right? Trying your best. Obviously, Sean Murphy doesn't fall in that category necessarily, but the other guys, they were, given these big contracts when they were at an age, I guess, to still kind of appreciate being paid that much more. Sometimes when you grab these guys right after being paid what they were being paid in the minor leagues and even in their first year of baseball, that amount of money is very attractive,
Yeah. I just think it's wild that, the Braves are perceived now as this team that is elite at retaining their own talent. Like that's kind of what all these extensions have led us to believe.
Yeah.
And yet they're also the team that, let Freddie Freeman get away and that just had Dansby Swanson have a historically good. Dansby Swanson had an excellent season in 2022, and now he's a member of the Chicago Cubs. The Braves somehow have threaded the needle between we're not going to keep everyone. Some guys are going to kind of price themselves out, but we're going to keep a lot of them, and we're going to do it better than any other organization in baseball.
What's more impressive, the Padres offseason spending or the Braves' ability to sign their trades to an extension or sign their own guys to a contract extension?
I think the extensions are more impressive. I mean, at the end of the day, if you have the money to spend in free agency, I mean, money speaks louder than anything in free agency. If you're the top bidder, you're going to get the player. And that seems to be how the Padres have generally been operating the last few years. They're just bidding higher than anyone else. And their ownership group is kind of willing to do that. With the Braves, it's a little different because you really have to get guys to believe in your organization to sign an extension. Frankly, a lot of these guys are probably walking away from more money that they could earn in free agency if they decided, to just wait it out and become free agents and test the open market. They might be leaving some money on the table. But the fact that the Braves have been just as consistently competitive as they've been over the last few years. The fact that the Atlanta Braves, I think, are just one of the most well-respected organizations in baseball right now. It's like, yeah, I'll like even if I might be able to get more money in the open market in a few years, that is a little bit of a risk. And I would rather just have stability in a great organization and continue playing for the Atlanta Braves.
That's a great point. That's a great point. The Diamondbacks have done an okay job at extending some of their top guys. They extended Ketel Marte back in March of this year. And unfortunately, that didn't really, I don't know if you could say it didn't work out. Ketel did not have a great season. They also extended Merrill Kelly. That deal looks much better than Ketel, but the Ketel Marte contract extension was still fairly team friendly. We're talking about a 5-year extension worth $76 million. And unfortunately, it was followed up by Ketel essentially having the worst season of his career. Now, a big part of the reason why he had the worst season of his career is due to injury. And we know that that's been kind of a looming factor with him over the last 2 seasons, going back to 2021. But in order for us to be fair and in order for us to continue the tradition we have started, we are going to go ahead and grade Ketel Marte's 2022 season. Now, I will start off by saying, Jesse, the rules here are the 2022 season, okay? I don't want people mad tweeting me because of how badly I graded him. Ketel Marte is a phenomenal player, and if you're asking me, I think he's going to have a bad bounce back season. It's going to surprise a lot of people, but I don't think we'll be surprised because we know what this guy is capable of once he's healthy.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like there's a difference between the outlook for Ketel Marte at large and like what he did in 2022. Frankly, Derek, it wasn't that great. We can throw my grades up there. I'll go ahead and go for it. There's some not great letters in here, frankly. For hit, I have a C- for Ketel Marte. He hit 240, which frankly for him is as bad as we've seen since he came to the Diamondbacks. It's the worst batting average he's had on the team. His power, I'm going with a C+ there. I think Ketel Marte, in some ways, maybe his flaw in 2022 offensively was that he kind of sold out for power. But ironically, it didn't necessarily translate. He slugged 407. Right. So yeah, I mean, I think that there are some changes in approach that he might need to put into place moving forward. I do think he has a lot of power. I mean, he still put up some extremely high exit velocities at times. But he needs to find a way to get to that power more consistently. I have a C+ there. Base running is a C. Derek, honestly, I expected to maybe go lower on this just because it looked like Ketel was slowing up a lot on the base paths throughout the year. But I checked his sprint speed over at Baseball Savant. It was 41st percentile, pretty similar to what it was in 2021. There wasn't a huge drop off there. Ketel's not a guy who's going to steal bases, but it was fine. I think it was a decent season for him on the base paths. Going down the list, I have a D+ at fielding. We've talked about this a lot. It was gross defensively for Ketel Marte, correct, especially at the beginning of the year.
That's the best way to describe it. Gross.
It improved, I think, toward the end of the year. I think we maybe started to see fewer just like blatant mistakes. It wasn't necessarily errors for him. It was just like, wow, like he just doesn't look as athletic and as mobile as he's looked in years past. So I have a D+ on fielding. Durability, I have a C. I actually thought I might need to go lower on this, just given the injuries that just seem to keep coming back over and over and over again, in particular, the hamstring problems that we've seen for a number of years. He still played 137 games and had 558 plate appearances. So I'm going with a C here. That's actually a pretty full season, all things considered. I'm sure the injuries probably played a role in how well he played, but he still was on the field a decent amount. And then lastly, dogging him, I'm going with a B, Derek. I feel like I can't go lower than a B for dogging him on anyone. Ketel Marte, we know deep down, he still has that dog in him somewhere. So hopefully he can unleash it a little bit more in 2023.
Well, Jesse, you're not going to like my report card, let me tell you, because I definitely went lower than a B when it came to dogging him. Leah, would you throw mine up there, please? Because mine is not very good here. B-, I feel like I could have gone lower with hit. Didn't think that, again, like you said, his batting average was his lowest of his career. There's just not a lot of things. Also, struck out 101 times. That's another thing that was concerning to me. But like you said,
Yeah.
I think that translates over to the C in power. I feel like he was just absolutely smashing the ball at like a negative 17-degree launch angle right into the ground, right? So it's like, it's not that his exit velocity wasn't there. I believe some of the most hard to hit balls this season were off of Ketel Marte's bat, and they were for outs. You know, so I don't believe for a second that his power isn't there and his hit ability is gone. I just feel like what you said hit the nail on the head. This guy, he has always been able, at least for the last couple of years, to have a really, really good batting average. I mean, going back to 2019, he hit 329, 287 in 2020, and then 318 last year. So with based on this schedule, based on this trajectory, this odd number year, he is going to just fucking tear it up, Jesse. But running, I agreed with you. It wasn't terrible. He just, and the biggest problem with running was it seemed like when he ran, when he sprinted, that's when he was injuring himself the most, right? That's when the hamstrings would go bad, and I just didn't understand what was happening with him. Most of the time, it was a run down to first base. Fielding, D for disappointment. D for hello and welcome to disappointment. Jesse, this man was at one point prior to this season selected by the MLB Network to be the best second baseman in baseball. And I just don't know what criteria they were basing that on. We were very excited about it at the beginning of the season. And of course, we know how that went. I think it was shockingly bad considering that we thought his weaknesses were just kind of put on display in center field. And then he comes back to the infield and just struggled at times. F durability, because of course I feel like I'm giving him an F for durability because I feel like all of these factors are connected to his injury. I feel like his lack of mobility in the field was due to that. I feel like even his struggles at the plate were due to the injuries that he just played through, right? Because they were pulled, strained hamstrings, and it's stuff where they just kind of cramp up, but it's not really enough for you to be out for a significant period of time or have surgery or anything like that, and it's frustrating. So that the durability F is more towards his body and less towards him, but the dog in him, I gave him a C, and I think that's more for him. Ketel, I mean, he's always been a gamer, right? He's always been a guy that just seemed insanely competitive, but there was something about this season that felt like he was kind of just relaxed. He was cool with what was going on. It didn't seem like his struggles offensively or, his struggles in the field, bothered him. Now, again, that might just be his personality. I might just be putting my aggressive nature, like I would fall apart if things happened to me badly as a professional athlete. No, I'm not just limping off field. I'm going to be throwing my helmet and throwing a fit and being a giant baby out there if I pull my hamstring or some shit like that, right? There is something to be said about the fact that some guys just don't show that level of, anger or fire over struggling or over injuries or anything like that. But you want to see it. I think you want to see a frustration. You want, when things aren't going well, I want you to be angry. And I know that might help, but I guess it helps me as a fan, look at you, see you angry, see you frustrated and feel the same way, like feel equally as frustrated as you are with what's going on with this team, right? This team wasn't as bad, I don't feel like, as the record indicated. They just went on some really bad stretches this season, and their bullpen was just atrocious. I feel like they're very close to rectifying a lot of their issues, and 2023 easily could be that year that Ketel bounces back.
I mean, in my mind, Ketel, I don't know if he's necessarily the biggest X factor for 2023, but like he's up there. I mean, if you get another season of, odd numbered year, Ketel Marte, as you were talking about earlier, if that happens, the D-backs are going to be in pretty good position. I don't think most people are even really expecting Ketel Marte, to be like a big factor in this lineup in 2023. But if he is that guy, it would be a huge boost, and it would give some stability to a lineup that has a lot of excitement, but also kind of a lot of question marks. Like you don't really know what you're going to get from Jake McCarthy and Alec Thomas and Corbin Carroll. And there's just not enough track record there to really know. Ketel Marte, there's a track record here. And at times he's been very, very good. And I don't think that extension that you talked about is necessarily a disaster or anything. I think it's still sort of okay. But if he continues to trend downward, if 2022 was just kind of the beginning of, the downturn of his career, then it could look pretty bad in a few years. The D-backs already had Ketel Marte through 2024. This deal brought that out to 2027. And it's a little bit harder to sell that, like, you definitely want Ketel Marte on your baseball team that far into the future.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Well, if you guys are here right now in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, we thank you so much for being here, for being in the chat. We always appreciate you guys and your time. Of course, if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when we go live or any of our other wonderful shows go live. And also leave us a little thumbs up. It just makes me happy. It makes me feel warm inside. If you're listening to us right now on your favorite audio podcasting app, make sure to subscribe to us there if you haven't done so, and leave us a review. We always appreciate your feedback. We appreciate you guys downloading the show. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it. We have had our best month to date of this show existing in December during the off season, and that's because of you guys. So we not only thank all of you that have been here regularly, but we thank you Toronto Blue Jays fans that have kind of popped in to give your 2 cents and really help us get over the edge here at the end of the month, because of course we were expecting things to slow down during the end of December and Christmas and the holiday, and it did not. You guys did not let us down, and we thank you so much for being here and supporting us. We are just over the moon with how well things are going. If you want to, go to morefurniture.com and reward yourself for being a fan of this show. Buy yourself a new piece of furniture on me. I'm not paying for it, but just feel like that I authorize that and it's on me, because More Furniture has wonderful furniture. And of course, you have stuff in your house you need to replace. You have that cabinet, or not cabinet, but like a nightstand, or like a where you put your clothes, like one of those dressers that's outdated. It's from the 90s. Get rid of it. It's time to move on. You're better than that. You deserve better than that. Go to morefurniture.com, get yourself some new furniture, and tell you what, just to make you feel extra special, More Furniture will not only give you free delivery, but they will give you free white glove delivery with any minimum purchase of $1,999. So make sure to check out morefurniture.com for that, and get them to bring it over. Make sure they wear white gloves, maybe bow ties. I don't know. That's what I would request. White gloves seem to go with bow ties, but whatever you want to do. And honestly, tell them your friends from PHNX sent you. We appreciate you guys doing so. Last night, Jesse, was the Guaranteed Rate Bowl at Chase Field, and I'm upset. I'm not upset because a football game took place at Chase Field, Jesse. I am upset because, as we talked about yesterday, they had indoor fireworks, Jesse. Indoor fireworks at Chase Field. I am furious. I feel like I've been lied to my whole life. What is this?
I mean, so for one, it appears the roof is open. Yes, I believe the roof is open.
How do you appear? Where? I don't see that. Maybe.
Okay, the picture is showing up a little bit. It's a little bit hard to tell for me. No, I think you're right. I don't think the roof is open.
Yeah,
so
I don't think it's open either.
Yeah, no, the roof is not open. So, yeah, we definitely do have an indoor fireworks situation here. It's a little different, right? Because they're being like launched from the field, and I don't think they're like those really, really big fireworks that like go way up into the sky, because that would probably like blow the roof off or something. But
the thing.
Maybe there is some potential for the D-backs to do something along those lines at some point at Chase Field.
What you're saying is we have to launch them off from second base. I am okay with that. I don't know if you heard, but the bases are bigger. Maybe that allows for this to happen from I don't know. Michael Rokicki says, did they not have indoor fireworks at the Royal Rumble? You bet your ass they did. It's a WWE event. Are you kidding me? Of course they had indoor fireworks. I'm just pointing out. Roof was closed, panels open. So there you go.
Yeah.
Roof closed, panels
open.
Well,
I think all of the panels were open except for one of them, which it appears was closed. I want to say that was also an issue during the season where like there's this one panel that
doesn't open
for some reason that will not open, and it doesn't appear that they fixed that, which kind of goes back to our conversation yesterday about the roof situation and some things in the ballpark just kind of lingering as problems. But
Jesse, when you want to get rid of your car, you don't go off and put some new rims on it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what's happening right now. But That's only speculation, so don't quote me on that. Of course, we know it's Christmas vacation week. My daughter can't wait for me to take her to do something fun. We are going off to Octane Raceway and Mavericks after we're done doing this show,
Ooh,
because
there you go.
we had an absolute blast as a team there. And of course, I want to make sure that my daughter has at least one day of not sitting around the house on her iPad this vacation, to take in as a memory. But you guys can also do the same thing. Of course, Octane Raceway and Mavericks has a wonderful selection of food. Their burgers are absolutely to die for. I enjoyed them very, very much so. And Octane has the only full-time indoor-outdoor racetrack in the United States. So check out Octane Raceway, check out Mavericks and their 22 bowling lanes, 85 arcade games, state-of-the-art laser tag, and so much more. You can have your events there. You can have your parties there. You can just go there as a family and have a great afternoon. So make sure to check out their restaurant, their bar, their craft beers, custom cocktails, everything they got. Daily specials today today, what day is it? Today's Wednesday, right? Wednesday.
Today, I believe, is Wednesday.
I don't even know anymore, Jesse. I can't, these people are in my house. I can't keep up to date on what day of the week it is. I'm still forgetting to feed myself. I'm glad my wife is here to take care of me. But Wednesday is Winning Wednesday, so half price arcade games all day. What better time to go down to Mavericks and check them out? We're very excited to have Octane Raceway and Mavericks as part of our PHNX family, and you can come check it out for yourself. Give your kids one last blast before their Christmas vacation is over. So make sure to check them out. And of course, we thank you guys for checking out all of our sponsors. Thank you guys for being here today in the chat. We thank you guys for being a part of the PHNX family. In the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse and Friedman. Our show is at PHNX_DBacks. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Again, we thank you guys for your time. On behalf of Jesse, Leah, and myself, we always appreciate you guys being here. And remember, kids, baseball is so much fun. Excuse me, I'm messing up the ending. It's fun. Baseball's just fun, but it's so much more fun when your lineup consists of guys with fantastic heads of hair.